Welcome back to For the Record. We're here discussing ways to empower people with disabilities. Joining us now are Allison Huffstetler and Amy Hibbs, co-founders and co-executive directors of Bridged. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Tell me how Bridged works.
So we are a nonprofit in the upstate, and we do three main things. Number one, we empower parents. We provide training for parents of kids with disabilities. So we are both moms of students with disabilities, and when our kids entered school, we realized how much we didn't know about the individual education plans, programs, 504 plans, and so we really wanted to learn ourselves, and so we educated ourselves. We received hundreds of hours of training from top advocates and lawyers. So now we give back to the community by providing that same training to parents so that they're more equipped when they're sitting at the table advocating for their own children. We also do an annual Disability Resource Expo, and so that is for any individual with a disability from birth through adulthood. And that is an event where we have exhibitors from all over the state that provide services for individuals with disabilities. We had over 800 people attend this last year, 80 exhibitors, and they just were able to, all those individuals were able to be educated about the services available to them.
I would imagine the very first and most important thing is when a parent finds out that this is a road that their child is now going to be walking on, that first, to know they're not alone.
That was one of the things about the expo, is of course we wanted to provide the resources, but another objective that we had was the connection. Being, you know, when you're in the building with other people that have the same shared life experience as you, to know that you're not alone and that everyone in that environment understands what you're going through. And you can also, we all learn from each other, being able to ask another mom or another family that's ahead of you on the journey. Those are some of the best resources that you learn about rather than, you know, a formal resource. So that was definitely something that we wanted to provide, that connection piece for people as well.
And then when you have a community, how important is feeding and thriving within that community and representing that community in Columbia and so on?
Absolutely. So there's 1 in 3 South Carolinians has a disability, and 1 in 7 students in Greenville County has a disability. That is a very large population. So we are a large population, but often when you have a disability or you have a child with a disability, you can get bogged down with just needing those extra resources or just kind of the day-to-day of just the challenges of life. And so when we get together, we're able to kind of advocate together so that we can go to Columbia. Amy and I have been to Columbia before advocating for different state laws on a personal level that impacts our family, but other families that are impacted by disability. It's very important to us that we're always thinking about the bigger picture, that we're thinking about how we can not just get better resources for our individual situations or our children, but that how it's going to impact the entire state.
And there may be people watching now who don't have a personal connection to someone with disabilities, but has a passion to do something for them. So can people who don't have disabilities or aren't connected get involved with your program as well?
They absolutely can, and we also like to talk about disability. Something that we learned in our research is that by age 3, children notice physical disabilities, and by age 4 to 5, they're fearful of those differences if we don't talk about them. And so one way, if you're not affected directly by disability as a parent, you can begin having an impact in your own home by talking about disability and kind of taking away the stigma and the fear that's often associated with it. And then absolutely, we say that sometimes, you know, people are born with disabilities, but other times people acquire disabilities, not just children, but maybe our parents. They have a stroke or someone has cancer and they acquire a disability because of that. So disability does affect, it might not directly impact us, but it affects our neighborhoods. It affects the students that are sitting next to other students in our schools. And so it really does affect our whole community. And we say that when we probably won't see the changes that we're trying to create right now, maybe in our lifetime, but in order to make those changes, it's going to take people with and without disabilities working together, and that's where we're going to create the systemic change that we're going to see long after we're gone.
Yeah, I would imagine for, you know, there are Barbie dolls now with a disability. There are superheroes with a disability. Wicked is coming out in the movie theaters in November. It has a main character in a wheelchair. seeing it more and more and it being a part of everyday life, does that take away the sting a little bit?
I think it makes it a little bit better. So what we've kind of learned is that there's two parts about kind of addressing the stigma and fear with disability. There's education and there's experience. Seeing individuals on our TVs with disabilities, representation in Barbie dolls is so important. My daughter has several. But we also have to still educate about disability. And so we created a program that we do in schools for K through 12 where we go into schools and we educate about disability. What is a disability? We address that stigma. We talk about assistive technology that empowers people with disabilities. We talk about how they work and so that they have jobs just like you and I do. We talk about what they love to play. My daughter loves to ride her bike. Students are often surprised by that because she has a severe disability. But she has we want to focus more on those similarities of people with disabilities, not about that we're two different groups. And so that's something that we love to talk about, is that it's so important that even though we're seeing it, we still need to talk about it just to address that stigma.
Caleb's Corner. Talk to me about that.
Well, during the pandemic, one of the things when I quickly became a general education and special education teacher, a cafeteria worker, all at the same time, one of the things that really impacted my son with a disability was the social aspect of him going to school and seeing his friends. He doesn't have many friends outside of school, so that's where his family is, and not being able to have that. One day at the dinner table, I told my husband, I'm going to make a store on our driveway, and we're going to have just our neighbors come. And he was like, you're crazy. But we started it, and people were home during that time. And sometimes there were 50 people lined up to come to Caleb's Corner. And it wasn't about, everything we sold was for 1 penny. It wasn't about the product or the sales. It was just about him being able to have the opportunity to interact with people again.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for doing what you do. Next on For the Record, the opportunities and resources for students with disabilities in Greenville County Schools.
The images are